I want to talk to you about how to be your own accountant. And in today's conversation, I'm going to try to keep things as simple as possible because this is not a course about a PhD in accounting or a master's degree in accounting. If you are a small business owner and you're trying to understand how to be your own accountant, this is the video for you. So here are the steps I want you to follow right now. So the first thing you want to do is you need to learn the basics of accounting. And obviously, we're not going to school to learn the basics of accounting. So you need to have a tool that will help you understand your own accounting. So, and the best tool is to have accounting software. So you can have QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Wave, Zoho Books. You have a lot of accounting, I would say, software out there. Some of them are free, as a matter of fact. Some of them are free. Like if you take Zoho Books, for example, they don't charge you anything. It's free forever. Okay. So try to have a software tool that allows you to really understand your own accounting. So when we talk about accounting, basic accounting, you need to understand things like financial transactions. So whenever money comes in and money goes out, those are financial transactions. You got to have a way to automate the recording and the tracking of those financial transactions. And this happens through journal entries. So business transactions are recorded in a journal, also known as books or of original entry, in a chronological order using the double entry bookkeeping system. So the journal entries include two accounts. You have debits and credit. And everything I'm telling you happens automatically in the background in accounting software. So you don't have to learn how to debit one account or when to debit an account or when, no. Just have the software such as Zoho Books. It's free, or Wave or FreshBooks. But you need to understand that, when you actually have money coming in and money going out, there are journal entries happening in the ledger also. And you also have something called unadjusted trial balance. Unadjusted trial balance is prepared to test if the total debits equal total credits. You need to understand when we talk about accounting, there has to be a balance all the time. This is why people say you need to actually balance the books. That's the whole notion of balance sheet. Okay. So this is a sheet that is balanced. So when you have assets, total assets equal total liabilities plus stockholders equity, your owner's equity. I'm not going into too much very sophisticated terminology here, but what I want you to do here is that you need to understand the basics of certain things as they relate to your business. You also need to understand financial statements. So there are 4 financial statements. You have income statements, statement of changes in equity, balance sheet, and statement of cash flow. And in some cases, they also have the notes to the financial statements. And you also need to have something called closing entries. Again, everything I'm telling you happens automatically in the background in your accounting software, which you can get for free. You don't have to spend anything, especially if you have a small business, you can get it for free. Boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We're going to have a quick conversation about how to be your own accountant. The next thing I want you to do after learning the basics of accounting, you need to open a business bank account. Because see, the thing is, it doesn't matter if you are a sole proprietorship or if you're a small business owner, or if you are, let's say, an LLC owner or an S corporation owner or a C corporation owner. You want to really open a business bank account so you can actually separate your personal affairs from your business affairs. This is so important that you divorce right now your personal affairs from your business's affairs. That way, this is really good in terms of tax reporting. This is good for business reporting. It's good also for legal liability shielding. In other words, something were to happen, somebody were to sue you, you are able to shield your personal assets from your business assets. So this is important. You want to open a business bank account now. And it's just a lot easier to open the business bank account at the same bank where you currently have a personal bank account. This is really important. It's going to help you in the long run. Believe me, it's going to help you big time, So open it right now. Go to a branch and have a conversation with your current bank and open a business bank account. And it's also good to open a business savings account, because that way, if there is let's say an excess of revenue, you can actually just allocate that excess of liquidity into the savings account, so that you are basically building a small nest egg for your business gradually. The third thing I want you to do right now is to establish a bookkeeping system. So when we talk about bookkeeping system, we're talking about you trying to, basically having a way to record transactions. Now, are you going to go with a single entry system of accounting or a double entry system? A single entry system of accounting is a form of bookkeeping in which every one of a company's financial transactions is recorded as a single entry in a log. So new small businesses usually use this process because of its simplicity, cost effectiveness, and lack of formal training. And then you have a double entry system that requires a much more detailed bookkeeping process where every entry has an additional corresponding entry to a different account. So consider the word double in double entry to stand for debit and credit. That's what I talked about earlier, right? So when I said the two totals for each must balance, otherwise there is an error in the recording. So a double entry system will provide complete records and allows for the creation of proper financial statements. But hey, boss, the thing is you don't have to do anything. Just allocate the whole thing to accounting software and the accounting software will do things for you. Not a problem. You have FreshBooks, you have Zoho Books, you have QuickBooks, you have Wave, you have a lot of accounting software tools that are free out there. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to be your own accountant, and I'm going to explain to you step by step how to do it. The next thing you want to do here is to categorize your expenses. So if you're trying to be your own accountant, you need to have an idea where you are putting your expenses in categories. Why? Because basically it's good for operational purposes. So you know exactly where your money is going at. You are actually knowing exactly also, it's good for tax purposes because then you know what to write off come year end. And it's also good also for strategic purposes because you know how to invest, how to allocate your funds strategically when it comes to pushing certain fields versus others. So categorizing expenses will help keep your company organized for budgeting purposes and total expenses you can write off at tax time. Okay. So popular category headings that you can create include advertising expenses, business vehicles, payroll, for example, employee benefits, meals and entertainment expenses. You have office expenses. You have office supplies. You have professional services. You have rent, utilities, and phones. You have travel expenses. This is really important because the list I'm just giving you here is not exhaustive because this list would depend upon the sector you're in, right? If I'm working in consulting, for instance, my major categories of expenses will not be the same one with the same one as somebody who is let's say a mechanic, an auto mechanic, or somebody doing transportation, somebody doing like a load transportation, for instance. So your expense categories will depend upon the industry you're in. So just make sure that you are able to have the right expenses for your specific niche. The thing is that due to the introduction of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, the laws regarding tax deductions for meals and entertainment expenses for businesses in the United States have changed. So business owners can still deduct 50% on meals if the expense meets certain conditions, and entertainment expenses such as sporting events or concerts no longer qualify. So just make sure that you are aware of those so you are really, really clear about what really matters for your business right now. The next thing I want you to do here is to establish a budget. So when we talk about being your own accountant, you need to establish a budget. See, a budget really helps you actually have a clear direction of where you're going financially speaking. So once you have categorized the expenses for your business, determine your budget for the year. This is particularly important if you have employees authorized to make purchases for your company. This is so that they understand your expectations and do not overspend, because you don't want employees to actually spend like crazy, right? You don't want that. So you need to determine a total figure. This could be, for instance, $10,000. Then what you want to do is you want to break it down and assign amounts to the categories listed in the previous section. See what we talked about, things like travel expense, office supplies, and so on and so forth. You want to really break down. You want to subdivide the total amount into those categories. So in the first year or two of business, these numbers will likely need to change a lot, but establishing a budget at the outset gives you a great place to start, informs your staff of spending limits, and allows you to better plan for the future. And you got to have this plan for the future. This is so important. So step number 5, you want to establish a budget. Step number 6, you want to use accounting software for invoicing and payroll. So the same way you had like a basic accounting software, like I was telling you about QuickBooks, Xero, Wave, and so on and so forth, you need to have accounting software for invoicing and payroll. Sometimes you can actually have all those 3 lumped into one. You can have accounting software for bookkeeping, for invoicing, and for payroll. For example, if you have Gusto, you have a software called Gusto, you have OnPay. A lot of them don't do just payroll, they do everything. So it's up to you to, even QuickBooks, they do a lot of things. So you have to make sure that you are able to find accounting software that does the things that you want the software to do. Invoicing and payroll are 2 of your most important accounting processes. So when we talk about invoicing, you want to ensure that you have a proper system in place for invoicing, because the cash your business generates from invoices paid by clients will keep your company going. And today, software and app solutions will allow you to build an invoice template with your company's standard information, things like your logo, your branding, everything. And this software automatically generates a new invoice number every time you create an invoice, set payment terms, and notifies you when a client's payment is overdue. The top ones offer online or phone support too. So this is kind of cool. So you want to read over the first invoice you issue a few times before submitting it to the client to ensure it's a great template going forward. And what about payroll? Now, payroll is simply the process by which you pay your employees. So a reliable payroll process is vital for 2 reasons, 2 important reasons. The first is that depending on the size of your business, it could be your largest regular expense. Second, a proper payroll system will satisfy the employees you hire. Employees will look for work elsewhere if you do not pay consistently and accurately. So getting a payroll system in place at the outset can save you years of grief. Very important. Typically, a payroll system will deduct taxes from each check before the employee is paid. These taxes include Social Security, Medicare, and federal and state income taxes. So some taxes like Florida do not deduct income tax, so just be aware of that. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to be your own accountant, and I'm explaining to you step by step the things you need to do to actually become your own accountant. I want to share with you a few ideas or a few software tools that you need to actually look into if you are interested in invoicing and accounting and bookkeeping and payroll. So because payroll can be a time-consuming process, most businesses today use a software system that handles the tax deductions and directs the net amounts to employees' bank accounts automatically. So that's the whole thing about direct deposits. So depending on the software, some systems can also calculate wages for hourly paid staff and generate summaries based on the business owner's needs. So based on our research, some of the top accounting software options are, you have FreshBooks, you have QuickBooks, you have Gusto, you have Paychex Flex, you have OnPay. Those are really good. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about FreshBooks is really lightweight and simple, yet flexible and functional. And it's one of the most popular accounting software options for accountants working in all industries. So with features like frequently updated insights, automatic compliance checking, and a customized chart of accounts, FreshBooks has everything business owners need to handle their own bookkeeping confidently. You also have QuickBooks. Now, QuickBooks is really popular. That's one of the most popular accounting software tools you have right now. And is really, think of QuickBooks as everything. This is an all-in-one. You have everything. You have Gusto. Gusto is really good also, but Gusto is a more specialized program focusing mainly on payroll instead of accounting as a whole. It's an excellent tool for managing your payment to staff, organizing employee benefits, and coordinating with HR, but it really may not be the right call for small business owners looking for an all-inclusive accounting software solution. You can try also a Paychex Flex. Now, Paychex Flex is similar to Gusto because it is focused primarily on employee payroll and benefits, as well as HR services. It is a powerful option, though, for small businesses that are looking for, they really need a solution for a growing team, particularly if you are planning an expansion of your small business in the near future. So this is really cool. And then you could also try OnPay. So OnPay allows accountants to partner with all kinds of stakeholders, including small business owners like you, so that you can handle everything from employee payroll, benefits, and HR services via OnPay's online platform. It's just fantastic. Now, the next thing you want to do here is you want to pay your taxes. So basically, after doing everything, you have to pay your taxes. And so when you keep your records organized, accurate, and 100% compliant, you need to actually pay your taxes, because this is what's going to keep you in business. You don't want the last thing you want is to have the IRS come after you for taxes due. The thing here is that if you have the proper accounting software, that accounting software should actually automate the whole process for you, so that you are able to send regular payments to the state tax authorities and federal tax authorities also. So normally there are ways to pay the IRS electronically, like online, and you don't have to send a check or whatever. You don't have to send a monthly check or whatever, because you are supposed to send payroll taxes, checks that relates to payroll taxes. You're supposed to send this every 2 weeks. So make sure that you are really compliant on that front. But you want to outsource this thing, because you do not want to make a mistake in this category. And so there are benefits though. So this is basically how to become your own accountant. Okay. So you need to learn the basics of accounting, open a business bank account, establish a bookkeeping system, categorize your expenses, establish a budget, and use accounting software for invoicing and payroll. And of course, pay your taxes. Now, there are benefits of being your own accountant. For example, you have reduced costs. You can work at your own pace. And the cool thing is you have familiarity with the business. You know exactly. You have a vast knowledge and expertise when it comes to your own business and your industry. Okay. Now, hiring an accountant may help to a certain level, because the accountant has a basic theoretical knowledge, but the accountant does not have the industry knowledge that you do have. So, the cool thing is that you can actually just outsource either fully or partially the accounting and payroll functions. So at least you can really save money. So long story short, the thing is that if you want to do your own accounting, you're going to need to have a system. You're going to need to have accounting software. You need the system. If you don't have the system, you will make mistakes. Why? Because you were not trained to be an accountant. So if you're not trained to be an accountant, you need to have a system, so that you have a system that works, and you just have to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. If you do this, you are going to do really well in the future. But once you grow, once your business grows, you're going to have to hire an accountant, an accounting firm, or hire an in-house accountant, because you would not be able to handle things if the mass of transactions grows. It's just you would need some expertise here. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I just explained to you how to be your own accountant, and actually gave you the steps. And I also explained to you the benefits of being your own accountant. And also I explained to you other considerations for doing your own accounting. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.